Hey, what's going on everyone? Matthew from therighttrader.com back today with another daily crypto update. As per usual, I will be going over my normal schedule of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Ripple, Neo, Vertcoin, Monero, Omisigo, Lisk, Cardano, and IOTA, which is now going to be added to every daily crypto update from here on out. Of course, all of those in that order, any more detailed technical analysis on TradingView in just a second. Other than that, if you haven't purchased cryptocurrencies yet, go check out Coinbase. I have a referral link in the description where you can get $10 free worth of Bitcoin when you sign up. And let's get started with the general market / altcoin update. So we can see that Bitcoin is pulling back a little bit, more or less flat here over the past 24 hours. And Ethereum, however, has actually been one of the cryptos today that actually got a pretty major move, right? It broke above $600. And, the pattern that we saw was, of course, Bitcoin kind of broke out first, above $10,000 and everything. And I'm sure you all saw the big price increase. And after that, we saw Litecoin get that similar bounce where it just kept on going nonstop, really. Currently above $300, up 24% in the past 24 hours. And then finally, it was Ethereum's turn that got its, big move, and it broke out above $600, up 15% over the past 24 hours. So still a lot of strength. They did pull back a little bit from where they previously were, but overall they did move higher, right? And we haven't really seen a sign of a pullback just yet. Of course, we'll see how all of that is looking on the charts. Now, Ripple is actually one of the big movers today, up about 40% over the past 24 hours. Got a pretty huge breakout. As you know, Ripple, I've been saying that we will probably see a breakout, eventually, and we finally got that. So I think that this is definitely a good move for Ripple, and it really puts it closer to that 50-cent range, which would then put it, increase its odds of getting to $1. So I think this is a very important move for Ripple, and definitely well deserved. It's been, kind of consolidating for a while, so it's definitely in a nice setup right now. Dash doing pretty good, EOS doing pretty good, and while there are some cryptos that are down today, the vast majority are still, kind of skyrocketing once again, and you can see that pretty much throughout the altcoin market. A little bit less growth than maybe the past 2 days, but still relatively good here. Let's get started with the technical analysis here with Bitcoin, and we can see that we put in now two basically, sorry, let me zoom out a little bit and go to the 1 year chart, be a little bit clearer, but what we can see is now we have put in about two flat, more or less doji candlesticks, and what's really happening is we put in our all-time high at $17,428. So that was a little bit of a top and peak over here. And now what we're seeing is a bit of a rounded top where we're slowly moving lower. So we'll see if we're really going to see, a pullback back down to the uptrend line. For now, though, what we have to pay attention to is, are we going to get a break above this, let's see, $16,650 area, which is more or less what we have over here at this black line. And that's really the level that we weren't really able to move above and hold above, especially. So we definitely want to see that happen if we want to see a continuation of this move higher. But if we keep on consolidating, what we could see is, a move back down to the support level over here near $15,861, where if we break through that, we would most likely see a test and possibly a bounce off this uptrend line right over here. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but we might definitely see a bit of consolidation here in this range. And we'll just have to see how that plays out. As far as the indicators go, MACD starting to slow down a little bit, maybe starting to round off and taper. As far as the histogram goes, we are still downtrending on that. So that is a little bit of a divergence compared to the price. RSI, we weren't able to move back above the uptrend line, kind of rejected that. So actually the indicators are not looking great now. For the first time, we're seeing some weakness in Bitcoin. Not really anything to be afraid of. It went up so much that it's, of course, going to start slowing down, and it looks like that's what's happening right now. So, of course, I'll keep you updated on how much, this is going to start dropping and stuff. But for now, we have to see, is it going to break through our first support level, right? Let's go over and see what's happening to Ethereum now. And like I said, Ethereum was actually the third crypto out of the, the big three, basically, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, to get its big move. And it finally got that today. So, we can see that we put in let's see, the all-time high was at $715. Pull back from that, put in a little bit of a double top. I'm actually going to go and put in a horizontal, black resistance level so you get a better idea of where that's at. And that's going to be right up here at $715. So moved quite a bit lower from that actually on this current candlestick. Came and tested our upper Bollinger Band, bounced off that pretty strongly. So, maybe we'll start putting in a bit of a range here at above $650 and trade in this upper range over here. It really depends. What we're going to have to pay attention to is, are we going to be able to continue to trade above the upper Bollinger Band, which is obviously hard to do, not impossible, but it is hard. What we could also see happen is something like we had over here where, we just kind of consolidated back into the Bollinger Band levels. But eventually, and sooner rather than later, we will have to enter back into the Bollinger Band range. The better case scenario for that would be something like we had over here, where we just consolidated and moved back into it in a pretty tame manner, right? But for now, we are still trading above it, and who knows? We could still see it move higher. It's probably going to consolidate a little bit here, in my opinion. As far as the MACD goes, that obviously really took off. Same thing on the histogram, and came and tested the 80 level on the RSI, rejected that, and we're now moving back towards the 70 line, and we'll see what happens when we test that. If we do, we'll either reject or go through that, which would obviously be bearish. But let's see what's happening with Litecoin now. So Litecoin, of course, got a really big move as well, all the way up to $420 today. And that's just amazing to think about. Not long ago, it was under $100, right? So this was a massive, massive breakout. Now, how are the indicators looking? RSI, while it is pulling back a little bit, we are still uptrending pretty nicely on that, surprisingly. And the MACD really just taking off. Same thing on the Instagram, not much else to say there. Now, as far as the actual price action goes, what we're seeing is actually kind of similar to Ethereum with a couple, key differences. First of all, we do have somewhat of a double top formation, but it's not at the all-time highs like it is with Ethereum. It's actually over here at the open and close of these two candlesticks. So that's at about, $351. And that's going to be, of course, a very important level that we need to break above if we want to continue to move higher. Of course, this is, basically one of the first candlesticks. We had a little one over here, but this is the first true, bearish candlestick that we had since our big breakout, and that could definitely, signal the slowdown that we might see. I thought we might have started to see that yesterday. We got yet another big move, so now I think is the time where it will start to slow down a little bit. Like I said, we could get a bounce off this upper Bollinger Band if it still has a lot of strength, and that could mean that it could still move higher. But sooner rather than later, we will enter back into the Bollinger Band range at a more, reasonable level, and that will also be followed with some more reasonable price action. Now, will we come back and test, maybe the $250 mark, bounce off the uptrend line? That's definitely possible. We'll have to see how that plays out. I'm going to go ahead and put in another uptrend line right here. This is going to be a very short-term uptrend line to give you an idea of, where we might see a bounce in the very short term, like I said. So, maybe somewhere over here near $287. That would be in line with the upper Bollinger Band, but I think we would only bounce at that level if we had a lot of strength, right? And I'm not saying that we don't, because obviously there is a lot of strength behind Litecoin right now. Got a big jump after, following Bitcoin's lead, basically, and finally got its turn to skyrocket. But we put in a low today of $301, and that's also going to be a very important level to pay attention to. So basically, I'd say look at this range over here, and we'll just have to see on which side we'll break out next, really. Let's go over to Ripple. Ripple, like I said, got its big move today, and pretty amazing breakout. Wow, broke out a lot of resistance levels. Broke out above 30 cents, even above 36 cents, and put in a high here of right under 50 cents, so 49 cents, and pretty amazing move. Of course, we did sell off quite a bit from there, and we are now pulling back towards our upper Bollinger Band. Broke back below this $36 area, so we're in this range over here right now in between 30 cents and 36 cents, which is fine. And, we'll see, like I said, for the other cryptos, are we going to see, just a bounce off the upper Bollinger Bands and continue to move higher? Or are we just going to start to slow down a little bit overall, maybe in the crypto market? I think that's the most likely case scenario over here, and especially for Ripple, just because if you look, we can see, although it didn't have, as crazy as a move as Litecoin, for example, it is definitely a pretty extreme move, right? You can see that just by how high we reached after breaking above the upper Bollinger Band. And one thing that I wanted to point out as far as the indicators go, we went as high as 78 on the RSI, and we dipped back below that, right? That's not a great sign. Of course, we could see a bounce back above 70, which would really trigger a bullish signal. But, if we start falling back lower, that's obviously going to mean that we're going to see things slow down a little bit here. Let's go over and see what's happening with NEO now. So let's take a look. I haven't paid attention to if it was going up or down, but it looks like we're pulling back a little bit here for NEO. Down about 6%, not great here with how much enthusiasm there is in the crypto market. And what happened with NEO is we actually kind of rejected the crossover above the orange line on the MACD. Obviously a pretty bearish signal that could still happen, in the next couple days, but not what we want to see. And we weren't able to go into the positive range as far as the histogram is concerned. Now, things aren't looking too bad. We bounced off the middle band, which is very important. We're still moving upwards on the middle band. Let me zoom in just a bit. So that's definitely, positive signs. and we held above our $37.50 area. So, if we hold above that and we just slowly but surely see this move higher, I mean, that's good enough for me, right? I think we don't really need to see more than that. That's already pretty bullish. I went ahead and put in our very short-term uptrend line. We are kind of dipping below that, so we'll just have to see how that'll play out. If we're going to see maybe a little bit of consolidation. It didn't really get a major move like some of these other cryptocurrencies, so that could definitely still be, in the cards for NEO. But right now, it looks like it's pulling back a little bit, and we'll just have to see, is it going to get a lot of weakness, or is this just a very temporary, breather? And next up is Vertcoin. I've actually been buying Vertcoin at these levels, and will continue to do so, to be honest. And so when it's dropping like this, I'm actually happy. Down about 7.5%, still in our range over here between $9.39 and $7.21. I expect that to continue, especially after seeing the drop that we had today. We put in a bit of a doji candlestick, got a reversal from there, and you can see the upper Bollinger Band starting to move a bit lower. So we could definitely see Litecoin drop a bit here. Now, we're coming and testing the orange line on the MACD. If we see a crossover, I would say expect something like we had over here. So basically a bit of a drop and then some consolidation. Definitely what looks like to be in the works right now, and not really anything that I'm going to be worried about. Even if it goes towards this $6.60 area, I will be buying up these levels, and RSI is probably going to come back and test our $52 mark. Sorry, 52 mark, where that's a big important support line as far as RSI concerned. I will be looking for a bounce off the middle band though, which is at $6.90, and if we want to sort of avoid any kind of bearish momentum, which at this point it's going to be looking hard to do, but if we are going to get some kind of stronger bounce and keep up the uptrend in the short term, we'll want to see a strong bounce off the middle band, right? We had that previously, but this time around, we may see something like we had over here, where we just kind of basically trade alongside with it, right? Which would mean consolidation, basically. Overall, though, I'm not really worried, because like I said, I'm using this opportunity to accumulate some Vertcoin. I think it will eventually get it already got a very big move. You have to be aware of that, but I think that it will get, a big breakout like Litecoin, Ripple, and all those did. Of course, that's not financial advice. That's just my opinion. Let's go over and see what's been happening to Monero. Got a pretty nice move over here on the previous candlestick, all the way up to $288, and let's see. Actually, sorry, $329.78. I thought it moved higher than that. Yeah, so that's a pretty nice move. Obviously, coming back towards the all-time high. Didn't really quite get there, but getting pretty close. We now, though, have a little bit of a double top put in near that, $327 area. So that's definitely going to be a hard level to break through. We're seeing a bit of weakness now on this next candlestick. Got a pretty nice bounce, though, off our short-term uptrend line and off this sort of $275 area. So that's a good sign, but to be honest, we are probably going to see some weakness in Monero. It might just consolidate a bit, or it could drop a little bit, because right now it's really been going up nonstop and was acting very strong, but that just can't continue forever, right? It's going to have to take somewhat of a breather, because right now we've been in a very strong uptrend, pretty much nonstop. As far as the MACD goes, still looking pretty good. However, on the histogram, we can see that we have a little bit of a downtrend line in the making. So that could obviously be a signal that we're going to see some weakness here come into play. As far as the RSI goes, dip back below our 75 mark on the RSI. That's a very key level, like I said, for seeing moves, the strength or weakness in Monero. And of course, a dip below that would be a bit bearish. Now, we are still trading above our uptrend line, so we'll have to see if we get a bounce off that. But at this point, it bounced nicely off this $275 area, which is good. It has a lot of support. And I think we'll just probably see some consolidation near this $90 area for a bit here is looking, the most likely at this point. Let's see what's happening with Omise Go. I think it got a pretty nice bounce today, so that could definitely be interesting. I actually think I called that in my previous daily crypto update. So let's see. Yeah, it looks like it got a move above our big resistance level at $9.80, went all the way to $11.07, and put in a little bit of a double top there. I'm going to go ahead and put that in with a resistance level so you can see that better. And we're now moving back lower, unfortunately. Now, not too much of a problem, because we do have support on this very short-term uptrend line, kind of bounced off that. Hopefully this will be, very, won't really last long, and we can really bounce back up above our uptrend line over here. Sorry, our uptrend line over here. And from there, really, just make sure we're holding above the $9.80 range is what we want to see. But right now, it's finally looking like things are turning around for Omise. We can see got a crossover on the MACD above the orange line. Very bullish signal, actually. And that's something that is definitely going to mean that we could see it finally really started to turn around. Also went positive on the histogram, which is always good. Didn't really manage to hold in the upper channel on the RSI though. But like I said, really as long as we hold, I would say, above this middle band over here, and we keep up with this general movement upwards on the Bollinger Bands, you can see, we had a bit of a rounded bottom over here. That's going to be the signal that we want to see, and hopefully it'll just slowly but surely put in this rounded bottom, sort of a cup and handle formation until we get back to our previous, all-time highs, at which point we could see a breakout. It might take, a while, not necessarily, years, but it may take, a couple weeks, and then hopefully we can see a breakout for me to go. It's definitely been, kind of, some weakness recently for a while, right? Got a pretty nasty downtrend, and those things happen, but it's finally looking like we're getting a bit of an uptrend here. Let's see what's been going on with LISC. So LISC, unfortunately, not looking great here. Came in, tested our $9.72 resistance level. That's kind of our final resistance before we get back towards our all-time high area, and rejected that. Wasn't able to hold above the upper Bollinger Band. Now the upper Bollinger Bands are starting to expand, which is a good signal. And middle band moving back upwards here, currently sitting at $8, which is actually important as far as support is concerned. So those are some pretty good signs. We actually crossed over here on the MACD, and we could definitely see this pan out, really start to get a bounce here on LISC, actually, despite the weakness of today's candlestick. I actually got a pretty nice bounce off the middle band, so that is something to point out. And if this really takes off, that'll be a good sign. That's very important, because we already tested the MACD once, and I said if we come and test this back again, we'll probably see it really cross over and get a positive move. So looking decent here on the MACD histogram. A little bit of weakness, a little bit of trouble really going positive, but hopefully we can see that happen. RSI not really doing all that much for now. So really, I would say we just want to make sure we hold above our $8.60 support level, and really just continue to see a move higher, hopefully get some strong momentum off this crossover. Let's go over now to Cardano, and then our new addition to the daily crypto updates, which is going to be IOTA. So let's see, Cardano got a little bit of a bounce here towards this 92 Satoshi level. Bounced, rejected that basically on the next candlestick. And on the positive side of things, we are putting in, a little bit of an uptrend here, which is going to be very important, because we're facing a lot of downwards pressure from, mainly our downtrend line over here. I'm actually going to delete this one right now because it's kind of messy. So this downtrend line right over here is what's creating, the downside momentum. We now finally put in a bit of a bottom over here near 606 Satoshis, moving back up from that, and we now have a symmetrical triangle formation. So I think that we're going to get a move higher here, because we have started to put in now, over the past couple of days, a little bit of an uptrend line, and that's really what we needed to see for some added support. Now, of course, it's not going to be easy, because we have this big resistance right over here, and our middle band, which is obviously going to act as resistance. So, who knows, it may take a little bit more time. But if we break above this downtrend line, that'll be the signal that we need to really start to move back above that 1,000 Satoshi level. And other than that, RSI looking pretty flat here. MACD starting maybe to turn back a little bit, not really flattening out enough just yet, but we could definitely see that happen if we get a bit of a bounce here. And, finally putting in a little bit of a top on the histogram, moving back up slightly. So it is definitely looking a bit better than just, 2-3 days ago, and that's definitely a good thing. Now let's go over to IOTA and see what's been going on. I think it got some pretty nice movement, and let's see. So massive breakout over here. You can see on previous videos that I've made the resistance levels that I was drawing, and broke, of course, above those, got a massive move. Put an all-time high of, let's see, $5.59. And currently what I see right now for IOTA is a couple things. So we have our downtrend line right over here. Let's see, right over here, and our uptrend line over here. So this is, yet again, our typical symmetrical triangle formation, which we have in the making right now. So I expect this to continue until we break either to the upside or the downside, of course. And a couple things to be aware of. We got a nice strong bounce off our uptrend line. We actually got that every time we tested that uptrend line, which is good. That means that people are buying up those levels. I also wanted to say we do have a little bit of a range here, I feel like, also in the making. So that would be sort of that area over there and up here. So a couple things going on, and we're going to break either to the upside or downside. That's really going to set the trend in the short term, and could either mean, a breakout or a breakdown. But IOTA has, gone up quite a bit, and this consolidation, Basically what I'm trying to say is there are a couple bearish indicators, right? We can see that the RSI dipped below the RSI line, the 70 line, which, that's a pretty bearish signal. Of course, you could get a bounce like over here, but this is the second time around, which means that it is more likely that we do start to move back lower on the RSI. And of course, after a big breakout, when you move back below the 70 line, that usually means that you're losing the momentum. Of course, in the short term, I'm not bearish, on IOTA long term or anything, but the MACD is also starting to pull back down, right? So we are seeing some weakness there, and our histogram has been moving lower. So I'm kind of inclined, based on the range that we have over here and the strength that we have off the bounce on the uptrend line, to say that we won't really see some kind of massive breakdown. We're probably just gonna kind of cross over here and get some consolidation in this $4.30 range. I think that's the most likely scenario at this point, and from there, I think we could consolidate for a while and then hopefully get a bounce higher, right? That's usually a pretty common pattern after a bit of a breakout phase. So yeah, that's kind of what I see happening for IOTA. Other than that, everyone, I hope you appreciated this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.